Hello everyone, this is Sabita Sonkara. So, in our previous videos, we learned how to build a generic ETL framework and generic data validation framework, right? So, those frameworks help us process data efficiently and ensure only valid data reaches the target tables. But here, an important question is once the data is loaded, how do we know who changed the data and when it was changed or which ETL job made the changes? So, imagine you are working in production and suddenly the business reports that some customer records are incorrect, or the support team immediately starts investigating. They ask questions like who updated the data, or which table was affected, or what was the previous value and what is the new value, or which ETL job execute at the time, like this. So if your if application does not maintain an audit framework, answering these questions becomes almost impossible. So developers end up checking log manually, so spending hours identifying the root cause. So that's why every enterprise ETL solution includes a generic audit framework. So it records every important activity so that production issues can be identified quickly. So today's SQL interview question is how would you design a generic audit framework? Then before designing the framework, the first step is deciding what information should be audited. So, generally, we don't audit everything, we capture only the important business activities such as inserts, updates, and delete operations. So, because these operations modify the data, we also audit stored procedure executions or ETL job executions or application activities and any errors that occur during processing. So, this gives us complete visibility into what is happening inside the system. So, after identifying what needs auditing, the next step is creating a generic audit table. So, instead of maintaining separate audit tables for every business table, we designed one reusable audit table with common columns like audit ID, table name, operation type, primary key value, old value, new value, change it by, change it date, and run ID. So this design makes the framework simple, reusable, and easy to maintain across multiple applications. So now that the audit table is ready, then we need to capture the audit information whenever data changes. So depending on the project architecture, these changes can be captured using triggers or stored procedures or SSIS packages or directly from the application layer. Whenever a record is inserted or updated or deleted, the framework automatically writes the details into the audit table. So, another important part of the framework is the run ID. So, every ETL execution generates a unique run ID. Think of it as a tracking number for that execution. All audit records generated during that execution are linked to the same run ID. So, this makes it very easy to trace an entire ETL run and analyze failures and understand exactly what happening during that execution. Then, besides recording data changes, we should also track how the ETL jobs are performing. For this, we maintain a job audit table. It stores details like the job name, start time, end time, execution status, rows processed, and total duration. So, these details help us understand whether a job completed successfully or failed. So, if any exception occurs during execution, the framework records it in an error audit table. This includes the error number, error message, stored procedure name, line number, run ID, and error time. So, instead of searching through application logs, developers can directly query the audit tables and identify the exact reason for the failure. This significantly reduces production support time. Then the final step is making the framework completely generic and scalable. Rather than writing separate audit logic for every table, we use configuration tables and reusable stored procedures and dynamic SQL. So, whenever a new table is introduced into the system, we simply update the configuration and same framework automatically starts auditing it. This reduces development efforts and keeps the solution consistent across the enterprise. Finally, all the audit information is presented through the reports and dashboards. These reports answer critical business questions such as who changed the data, what changed, when it changed, and which job failed, and how many records were processed. So, during an interview, you can summarize your answer like I would design a configuration driven generic audit framework that automatically tracks every ATL execution using a unique run ID. So it captures data changes, job execution details, and error information through reusable audit tables. So using configuration tables and dynamic SQL makes the framework scalable, while dashboards provide complete visibility into system activity, making troubleshooting, monitoring, and compliance much easier. This is why generic audit framework is considered one of the most important components of an enterprise ETL solution. So, uh, thanks for watching. Follow for more advanced SQL interview questions with real world production scenarios. Thank you.